Good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me to a webinar on the studies of human altered ecosystems in BRIC countries. I'll be presenting on Bangalore Lake Information System, a decision support system which has been designed for empowering the decision makers towards the sustainable management of lakes. So now, when you look at the Bangalore Lake Information System, which is available online at this URL, so it has got the details about the water bodies in Bangalore. You can choose the water bodies. You can find out what is the water quality of that water body, then what kind of biological organism like microalgae, zooplankton, and the fish are there in the lake, and also the kind of the anthropogenic pressure on the lake in the form of encroachment. We have also talked about the efficacy of the restoration for each lake. We have the data for about 193 lakes in Bangalore. So now today's talk, I'll be talking about wetlands. The My talk is designed like this: wetland. I will be talking about ecosystem services, then I will talk about success stories and the society relevant science, how our society, science has benefited the society. I'll be illustrating in the last part of my talk. We have recently published a book on natural capital accounting and valuation of ecosystem services in Karnataka, which talks about the forest ecosystem, agriculture, and the wetlands. Now, let us try to understand why wetlands are required. We all know that the services provided by wetlands sustain the livelihood of all the dependent biota. It ensures the water security. Because of that, we have food security, and also it sequesters the carbon and and resilient to the changes in the climate. That's why we need to conserve the wetland. For that, we have to maintain the ecosystem integrity. When we do that, we'll have ecological security, and also it's a mechanism for adaptation to the climate change. Now, the services provided by wetlands include provisioning, regulating, and cultural services. Provisioning services include the tangible benefits like the fish, fodder, the water, etc., while the regulating services include the carbon sequestration, groundwater recharge, moderating microclimate, mitigation of the flood, etc., while the cultural services is the recreation. When you look, we have done the comparative assessment of the couple of wetlands in Bangalore. For example, Rajanalli Lake, which is reasonably clean lake without any external anthropogenic pressure. So it on the ecosystem services amounts to 10,500 rupees per day per hectare, while the polluted lake in the same catchment, the goods provided by the wetland amounts to about 20 rupees per day per hectare. Because of the pollution or the contamination in the lake, the people who are dependent on the lake, who include the fishermen, washerwomen, the researchers like us, are affected because of the poor quality of the lake. So now let us try to understand the water cycle. The lakes help in the groundwater recharge, and it maintain the water table in the region. We did a comparative assessment of the various watersheds, the one dominated by native species forest and other one dominated by monoculture plantation, the third one with urban. Like that, 32 location we have monitored. By putting a census, we have noticed that 60 to 65% of rainfall get infiltrated in a catchment dominated by native species forest, and there's only about 20% or 30% of rainfall get infiltrated in the monoculture plantation, and in urban area hardly any infiltration happens. Now the infiltrated water, the 60 to 65%, is the one which is available during the post monsoon in a region where the monsoon rainfall is for 4 months. Other 8 months is because of the recharging of the groundwater and the water stored in the Vado zone. So now removal of the lake in Bangalore has contributed to water scarcity. Earlier, when lakes were there, people were getting the water at 80 to 100 feet. But within the 5 years of removal of lake, the water table went down to 600 feet. Now, after 22 years, people have gone down to 1,800 feet, but there is no water, which highlights that if we want water from the groundwater resources, we need to maintain the wetland in the ecosystem. And if we rejuvenate the lake, we can reverse the situation, as we noticed in Saraki Lake in Bangalore. Within a year of rejuvenation of the Saraki Lake, we noticed the groundwater table improved by 320 feet. The last year, when entire Bangalore faced a dry zero situation with acute water scarcity and a heat wave, in Saraki Lake there was enough water, and also because of the high moisture content, temperature in the Saraki Lake was 2 degrees lower than the surrounding city temperature, which highlights that we need to maintain the ecosystem in the region to moderate the microclimate and for the water availability and the food availability in the region. This gives the temporal change in the groundwater table with the removal of the water body in the region. As you see that from 80 feet to 1,800 feet, the people have gone for in search of water. And this highlights the Saraki Lake, where the groundwater table after rejuvenation lake has improved from 920 feet to 600 feet, 610 feet in 15 months. Now, let us look at how the wetlands are being managed in the region. The wetlands are abused by dumping the solid waste, the encroachment, the influential section of the society, the encroach the lake bed and construct the lake view apartment. And this lake, for example, the Belandur Lake in Bangalore receives about 600 million liters of untreated sewage every day, and those who are away send it through the tanker. When the lake is in good shape, it looks like this. When the lake is contaminated with a nutrient enrichment, it looks like this with the profuse growth of the invasive species. When the profuse growth of invasive species are there, it does the food chain in the lake get disturbed, as evident from this because there is no sunlight penetration. Algae do not grow. Since algae is not there, zooplankton and fish do not grow in the region. That's why the productivity of the lake comes down from 10,500 rupees to the 20 rupees per hectare per day. The contamination is evident in the form of frothing and fire in the lake. Frothing is because of the untreated sewage containing the phosphorus and the N getting into the lake. The phosphorus get into the sewage water because we all wash the cloth with detergent, while the fire is a consequence of the hydrocarbon getting into the thing from the through the industrial effluent. Now, when the lake is contaminated, when the lake is not contaminated, well, our study shows if some amount of sewage comes, there is a treatment of the water happens as the water moves from the inlet to the outlet. Our study shows at the inlet the dissolved oxygen is 0, but at outlet it is as high as 14, which highlight that treatment of the lake happened because of the algae and bacteria in the system. When the lake is covered due to eutrophic state with the invasive species, you see that dissolved oxygen at the outlet is 3 or 4, and BOD is as high as 100, 120, which shows the contamination in the lake. Now, the removal of the lake or abuse of wetland leads to the flood, as it is happening in the Bangalore since 2001. Every year there is a flooding in the region, and also following the rainy season, we have the scarcity of water also in the region. Now, the flooding happens because of the interconnectivity among the lake is lost. Either the lake has been converted into the other purposes, and the lake is encroached. As we see, the interconnectivity among the lake is lost in the region. Now, the contaminated water is also affecting the health of the people. We analyze the fish from the lake, and this lake water is used for growing the vegetable like radish, the green leaves, etc. And when we analyzed, we found heavy metal in the fish, milk, as well as the green vegetables, including radish, etc. This shows that the contamination of the lake due to the industrial effluent, untreated industrial effluent, is transporting the heavy metal in the food chain to the human. This has a serious implication on the health of the people as with the increase in the cancer and the kidney failure. The Bangalore is number one as far as cancer is concerned. Kidney failure, which was 1 in 1 lakh about 12 years back, today is 1 in 5,000. So, which shows that we need to manage the ecosystem without contamination to have a healthy food and health in the system. Now, let us other serious implication the global citizens are facing is the changes in climate. The data shows the temperature is changing and also the rainfall pattern is changing. Now, the consequence of the changes in climate is the number of the instances or disasters are increasing, and also sea level rise is increasing, and it also affects the sustainability of the food evident from the impact on the biodiversity. For example, coral bleaching, we lose 79% with 1.5 degrees Celsius, and we will lose 99% by another 0.5 degrees Celsius. And if you look at the plant, the insect, plant, and the vertebrate, we lose 6 insects, 8 plants, and the four the endemic vertebrates. And with another 0.5 degrees Celsius, it becomes 18, 16, and 8. And the drought situation in the globe, about 320 million people are going to be affected. With another 0.5 degrees Celsius, it would be about 410 million people. And if you look at the sea level rise, the increase is about 49 centimeter with 1.5 degree. It shoots up to the 51 the centimeter, and about 50 million people get affected because of the sea level rise. So now the impacts of the changes in climate is the glacier melting. the frequent occurrence of the floods and drought, and more importantly, the food productivity also come down because of the decline of the pollinators in the system. To summarize, we will have the problem of food security, water availability, cities become vulnerable, and coastlines will be affected, and more importantly, health of the people get affected because of the zoonotic diseases or the vector-borne diseases like chikungunya, dengue, or COVID, etc. So now, with this background, let us look at the Bangalore. The city of Bangalore is about 740 square kilometer. Way back in 1800, this 740 square kilometer region had 1,452 water bodies with 82% green cover. Today, it's about 193 water bodies with a less than 3% green cover. When you look at the temperature of the region, way back in 1800, it was about 14 to 16 degrees Celsius in the May month, and for a few days in December, it was 0 degrees Celsius. But now the temperature has shot up to 37 degrees. The city of Bangalore has from the garden city in 70s has become the garbage city and the dead city. And one of the serious problem in the Bangalore, if you look at the topography of Bangalore, there are three watersheds and the lakes are interconnected. Earlier, the river or stream was passing through, and people have put the bund at regular interval to arrest the moving water to meet the irrigation and the drinking water requirement. Now the interconnectivity among the lakes are lost, and we have lost some of the lake. The spatial analysis of the lake shows in 1973 there were about 730 lakes, and today it's about 216 lakes are there. So, and these red ones are the lakes which we have lost over a period of time. And there has been a 79% decline in number of the wetlands in Bangalore over a period of time. The problem in because of the water crisis is because of the absence of the water urbanism in the urban planning. Absence of urbanism is evident in urban planning because the more focus is for the developmental project, which has enhanced the paved surfaces, and we have lost the porous landscape, we have lost the wetlands, we have lost the vegetation, and we have the landscape has lost the ability to recharge the groundwater, and also the wastewater treatment is suboptimal. And there's a need for the nature-based solution for treating the wastewater, and also we need to enhance the green spaces and the wetlands in the region. So now let's look at the one of the consequences of the urbanization, the transitional landscape from the porous to the paved landscape. In 1973, the city was known as a garden city with a 68% greenery, and red is the buildings, and blue is the water bodies, and yellow is the open space. In 90 is the with the industrialization, the Pune and Koramangala, we saw the transition of the landscape. And then 2000, with the ITBT sector coming up in the outskirts, we see the changes happening there. 2006 for intensification happened, 2009 further intensification. Now 2025, you see that 87% of the landscape is covered with the building or the paved surfaces. And to summarize, there has been a 1078% increase in the paved surfaces, and we have lost 88% vegetation and 79% of the water body. Because of that, the loss of the green spaces and the water body, there is a acute shortage of the oxygen in the city, and also the water scarcity in the region. So now we have also mapped the number of trees in the Bangalore. This is my campus of 400 acres. We mapped the trees. We linked that with the remote sensing data. Similar exercise was done in a couple of wards in Bangalore. With that training data, using the remote sensing data for the entire Bangalore, we estimated number of trees in Bangalore. The estimate shows that we have about 1.5 million trees for a population of 9.5 million. That means for every 7%, there is one tree. As you all know that we all breathe. When we breathe, we give out a carbon dioxide to an extent of 540 to 980 grams per person per day. Young people give out 980 grams per person per day, and 1 hectare of vegetation takes away the carbon to an extent of 6 to 9 tons per year. By that ratio, for every human being, there should be a 7 to 8 trees to meet the oxygen requirement of the region. But in Bangalore, we have 7% one tree. That means there is an oxygen deficiency in the region. So that means the landscape from porous to paved surface has led to the acute water scarcity and oxygen deficiency because of loss in tree cover, loss in the lakes, and decline in groundwater has happened because of the paved surfaces, and coupled with the over exploitation by commercial sector. 45% of the Bangalore water demand is met by the groundwater. So now that highlights that the urban growth in the city has surpassed the carrying capacity of the region in terms of the supportive as well as the assimilative capacity. This is also highlighted through the temperature change in the region. What was 21 degrees in 90s became 24 degrees in 2000 or 28 degrees in 2010 and today about 38 degrees. When you move from the center of the city in eight direction, you see that lower temperature wherever lakes are present, wherever open spaces are there, or even my campus where vegetation cover is as high as 54% compared to the other part of the campus or other part of the city. So we developed the Bangalore Urban Information System, or it is called BUS. So to empower the decision makers, the urban planners with the knowledge of urbanization and kind of infrastructure that is there in the region. So it's available to everyone at this portal. Then we have published this work at the in the Nature recently in the July month. So it shows that the decline in the green cover and increase in paved surface has enhanced the temperature in the region. We also try to look at the thermal comfort enjoyed by the Bangaloreans. Our study shows in a plot of 30 meter by 30 meter, if you maintain the 30% open space or green cover, the people will have the required thermal comfort without the need for the air conditioner or fan, etc. So this shows that the increase in the temperature with the urban the paved surfaces or the decline in the temperature with the green spaces. So this gives the glimpse of the Bangalore Lake Information System, which gives the data for all the lakes which we have monitored over a period of last 25 years. And last 3 years, couple of students have worked for them the doctoral thesis also, which provide the details about water quality and also the biota in the system. So now I am at the last leg of my presentation on the wastewater treatment. These are the intervention we have done successfully, the wastewater treatment, rainwater harvesting, creating the mini forest in the region, and also environment education to enhance the environmental literacy in the region. Now, way back in 2005, when we monitored Jakkur Lake, surrounding the lake, there were 25 wells were there. All of them have nitrate. As you all know, the nitrate is a carcinogen which introduces cancer. At the time, we pushed the government to rejuvenate the lake. The rejuvenation was taken up, and at the time, we incorporated nature-based solution. Constructed wetland and algal pond was linked with the secondary treatment plant, which removes the nutrient to an extent of 85 to 90%. And we monitored this lake for the last 12 years, and this report is available online, which gives you the details of the success of the rejuvenation. So then when you look at the water scarcity in the region, the city receives about 700 to 850 millimeter of rainfall. If we harvest the rainwater, we have 15 TMC, whereas the demand in the city is 18 TMC. So that means 70% of the water required for the humans is available in the form of rainwater. The best option is to harvest the rainwater through the rooftop harvesting, which gives the individual houses 3 to 4 months additional water. The next best option is to rejuvenate the lake and retain the rainwater so that groundwater recharge happen. And the other option is the wastewater treatment. Since we use 18 TMC of water, we generate 18 TMC of wastewater. If we have a nature-based solution similar to Jakkur Lake, we will have 16 TMC of treatment. That means in the place where the 18 TMC of water is required, we have 15 TMC of the water because of the rainwater harvesting, 16 TMC because of the wastewater treatment. This is a 31 TMC, which gives a surplus and sustainable solution. For this to happen, I have 5R formula. First R is a responsible citizen with the environment knowledge. And when people are responsible and sensible, they will allow the rejuvenation lake so that I can retain the rainwater. And also they allow the reuse and recycle of the wastewater so that we'll have water for all. Now to rejuvenate the lake, our prescription is to decontaminate the lake by removing the accumulated contaminant in the lake, and the other one is to arrest the contaminant through the treatment plant as a nature-based solution. Now we did the water quality assessment and the sediment analysis and also we looked at the quantum of sediment that is accumulated in the lake Belandur and Vartur, which was taken up for rejuvenation. This gives the current depth. We did the bathymetry analysis using sonometer, and this gives the historical depth. The difference gives the quantum of the silt accumulated in the lake, which shows about 11 million cubic meter of the silt is accumulated in these two lakes. And the Vartu lake, which is in the downstream of Belandur, doesn't have any contaminant. We had a meeting with the farmers in the region. For 400 acres farmers, we distributed this silt. I was a part of the committee, and it was distributed to the farmers. And after 4 months of my visit, when I visited a farmer field, they told me that they got an additional benefit of 1,50,000 per acre mainly because of the nutrient-rich silt from the lake, and there was no need for using a fertilizer. And they had a bumper crop. They grow these vegetables and the green leaves thrice a year. That means the worth of the silt which was removed is 1,50,000 into 3, 4,50,000 per acre per year. This gives the worth of the silt that is accumulated in the lake. We organize a symposium, popularly known as a Lake Symposium, for capacity building. About 1,000 to 1,200 people attend. Professor Filato and Professor Rajshekhar Murthy regularly attended this event. And the uniqueness of the event, among the 1,200 people participation, about 30 to 35% are the school children. They do a simple experiment like carbon sequestration, water quality monitoring. They are trained by my student for their work in the orientation program. Then the kids go to the field, collect the data, they come to the lab, analyze it, and then they present their work in the Lake Symposium. And when they do a good job, we give them an award also. That's how the capacity building happens, with the children taking active part in the symposium. And this gives a glimpse of the lake that we have created in the IISc campus, which is a perfect lab for my student to work on biofuel. And not only students are happy, we also have the otter in the campus. And to sustain the otter in the campus, there is the biodiversity in the lake, in the form of algae, zooplankton, fish, etc., which gives a message. If you facilitate the system, nature knows how to create the ecosystem to sustain the food for everyone. The similar exercise is done in a couple of location in the Karnataka, the federal state in India, to meet the demand of the water. So, so now when you visit the campus, you will see this climber. I was fascinated by this climber in the Western Ghat region, the forest region. I brought those seeds to the campus. Out of the 14 seeds, 7 seeds I planted in 7 locations in the campus. Out of 7 locations, in only 1 location it has survived. That is next to the building. That means even the plants know who will take care. In front of the building, we created a mini forest in 2 hectares area. With 49 native species, 500 saplings were planted way back in 90s, and today it has become a rainforest with a rich diversity of the fauna in the form of slender lorries, birds, etc. And also, the more importantly, groundwater, which was about 150 feet before the creating mini forest. Today we have the water at 10 feet, and the temperature in the region is at least 2 degrees lower. So now, what we have learned, we also communicate to the wider section of society through our Know Your Ecosystem. We have conducted about 555 programs in various parts of Karnataka, and we offer a course on environmental management. For the in-service working profession, we have conducted about 23 sessions as on date. That's how we are doing the capacity building. Professor Rajshekhar Murthy is very active in the Know Your Ecosystem as well as environmental management program as a visiting scientist. So now we are successful in getting a Ramsar tag for one of the wetland, Agnashni wetland, of about 48 square kilometer, with the exceptional biodiversity, and the worth of the ecosystem in terms of the ecosystem services amounts to 1 million rupees per hectare per year. So we published that in the current science, our publication related to Bangalore and the Western Ghat in the month of July and in the month of April. So if you need more details, you can write to me at this email ID, and you can also access these portals. And when you access the portal, you will see all the decision support system, and my publications are available online. And you can download the PDF version, and in YouTube you will get my talks also. So our agenda of science is to sensitize these youngsters with the environmental knowledge. When they have the environmental knowledge, they become sensible. When they become sensible, they will become a responsible citizens who would be an asset to the globe. Thank you very much for listening. If there are any queries, please write to me at this email ID. Thank you.